Episode 761. Look what Jess found. Look what Jess found. Well, yesterday I went to the bank and they gave me some pennies, and I keep getting the same wrappers from this bank. And these are the wrappers, not too awesome. And there's a little part of me that says that somebody is like, these aren't from somebody's piggy bank. You know what I mean? That I keep getting the feeling like these pennies are from somebody's penny album fill or something that they're doing with coins, but that they search through basically. So let's get it on. Let's check out one of these rolls, and hopefully my suspicion is not correct. I'm really, really hoping that they look like a normal penny wrapper should. I mean, okay, we got a copper there. I don't know if that's copper. We got a couple coppers there. Okay, I mean, either it's a really good fake out, you know what I mean? The person is obviously putting copper back into the roll. I mean, there should be. Well, the funny thing is, we're in 2026 now, and I guess I've noticed there are a lot of places where they're not giving pennies for change anymore. They just give you a nickel. Not a lot. Some places, I shouldn't say a lot. Like, I'll go to a few stores and everything's nickels. But, for content purposes, I really do not want to previously search through penny rolls. And it's the copper pennies typically. No white AM. That are more interesting, Obviously they have more intrinsic value, right? They're worth. Throw that one out. It was a 99. I should have checked for the white AM, even though it was that destroyed. That was a mistake. You can throw out a coin, but if you see it's a 98, 99, 2000, a 92, it only takes a second to see if it's a white AM or not. You can always clean it and make $5 off of it. I should have did that. Was watching Rob Finds Treasure again yesterday, and he amazes me. Comes out with 2 boxes of pennies, and he goes through them. And on the channel, it's 10 minutes. And he said the most weirdest thing yesterday on his video. During his video, what did he say? And I said to myself, now, he doesn't seem like the type who's going to be watching other people's channels, but I bet his wife, Keelani, she might watch other people's channels, and then, whatever, or other people who, or his members might come into other people's channels or what have you. You know what I mean? And snitch or talk about other people's channels. 2007, right? I look for that double year. And all of a sudden, what did he say? He said something. I just grabbed. I should. I wanted. I meant to write it down, but I think it was. Um. He said, let's see if we find any lesser known varieties. Okay, I've been watching him since 2000. I believe it's 2017. So we're talking about 9 years. He's been doing it. He is never. Matter of fact, several months ago, he said, I do not look for lesser known varieties. And I started talking about that in my videos, the differences between me and Rob Finds Treasures. And all of a sudden, yesterday, he says, and I'll let you know if I find any lesser known varieties. I'm like, what? I mean, it doesn't matter because he just doesn't, nobody can replace this channel, man. That's the bottom line. It's funny because there are certain things that you could duplicate. Okay. Um, and there I go with the ums again. There are certain things that can be duplicate. You need your toilet changed. Man, one plumber charges 100, another charges 200, another charges 300, whatever. I'm making prices up like that, man. Don't nobody charges $100 no more. There's $1,000 change your toilet, but you know what I'm saying. One charges more. Yo, man, your toilet is your toilet. If it's changed, it doesn't matter who the hell does it. Now, I'm talking about that they're all plumbers. Obviously, you get Joe Schmo from the Eskimo, and he doesn't know how to. He never used a toilet before, and he's not a plumber. And then all of a sudden, the thing starts leaking. He charged you $20, and you know why? You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they're all plumbers. Here's our first find of the channel. Anyway, so they all went to school. They're all plumbers. It's not like becoming a plumber is some magical. This is a shiny one, and we got a shiny. It's some type of magical profession. There's plenty of them out there. You go open up your thing. There's a lot of people who would love to. Here goes our first copper penny, man. There's a lot of people who would love to make $300 an hour or two for changing your toilet, or $400 an hour or two for changing your toilet. Okay, plenty of people out there. But taking your time and going through pennies, this is a skill. It's funny, right? You would think, oh, anybody could do that. You're just putting a penny in front. Nah, man, you can't do this. Anybody can't do this. I watch a lot of penny challenges. You can't do it. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to have been doing this for years. This specific action. Now, the funny thing is, the closest thing to what I do that I've ever seen is my member, Eric, Kenai Collectibles, who would go through a box of pennies on a microscope. Okay? That's the closest person to do what I do, which is look penny by penny and analyze and scrutinize each page, is my member, my longest standing member, Eric. Okay? And as I recall, you know what? Watch this. I'll show you how long his videos are. Pause it for a second. Okay. Kenai Collectibles. 22 months. By the time this video comes out, it'll be 23, 24 months. Home. And we got 1 hour. Sorry. 1 hour, 24 minutes. There we go. 1 hour. All right, let's go. Let's start from again. 1 hour, 34 minutes. 1 hour, 37 minutes. 1 hour, 49 minutes. 2 hours. Okay. So it's funny that, and it's funny because he, at the same time that I was starting my channel off and I was learning about this, he was doing all these videos back then, right? And I guess I fed off his energy in a sense, but that's how I learned. Yo, the way you learn in life, those first, here we go again with the ums, the first lessons you learn are the ones that stick with you. If you get taught bad habits, those are going to start hard. Bad habits are hard. I talk about this all the time. Bad habits are super hard to break. If you get taught the hard way, so I'm going to tell you a quick story about my cousin. One of the smartest guys I've ever known, man. Smartest and most talented guys I've ever known in my life. Had some personal issues and, you know, again, bad habits. Everything comes back to bad habits. Campaign number 2. And let's check for rotation on this real quick. I bought 2 rotated pennies yesterday. I'll tell you that if I remember at the end of the video. Because I found one. I went looking for it the day on when I did the video. I did some research and I found 2. I watched them. I put them on my watch list and I bought them both. They went cheap, and I was like, "This doesn't make sense. You hardly ever find truly rotated pennies." Anyway, one of the most talented and intelligent person I ever met. He was taught he started working for this construction dude at a very young age, early 20s, and he has some issues. And when you got issues, there's only certain people you can work for. You know what I mean? Because you got issues. And that's pretty shiny. I'm going to put that in with the shiny one also. And I don't know. We'll have to figure out those 2. They look pretty shiny. And forget about it. And he just, because he was working for this kind of, like slum type of a dude. Like he would work 10-hour days for $50 and then not finish the job because he was learning. And the guy said, "Don't worry about it. Your job will be there. It'll be there tomorrow. Don't worry." Like, so let's say he had to do a whole rip out of a concrete floor. And he said, "This job is 1 day. You should do this in 1 day. And you get paid $50 a day." This was 20 years ago. And he would rip it out. And then by the end of the day, he hasn't finished, filling it in with cement. He said, "Don't worry, come back tomorrow." And that would be it, man. That would be his $50 for the job. And he learned how to do plumbing and electric work from these people who would send him out to do all this work. He did the hard work that nobody else would ever do for the price money he would do, but he did it. He did it for like years, man, until he got a job as a superintendent and other things like that. And that's how he learned. He learned the hard way. And I learned, and that was it. And even when he stopped doing that, 10 years later, after he stopped doing that work, he bought a house. He went into the house. He bought a house in Jersey for 80 grand. I couldn't believe this. How he got it in. Now it was when the houses were cheap, but it had issues and needed work. He bought it for 80 grand. He put like $5,000 into it. He did all the work himself. I couldn't believe it, man. He turned the $80,000 house into, like, even at that moment, he could have flipped it for 150. And this was back like 10 years ago when the prices were really cheap. Right now, the houses are like $500,000. That $80,000 house is like 500 grand in Jersey. He sold it for, I think he sold it for 175, like a year later or something like that. And he bought the house he's living in now. Which, funny thing is, anyway, not as nice as the house that he sold for. I don't know what. Anyway, he did that for his own bad reasons, but that was a awesome. I always told him I loved that house. Anyway, I learned how to do penny roll hunting the hard way, and it stood with me. And it's the only way I know how to do things now, right? I had people say, "Hey," I would be like, "Oh, 1988. Oh, look for the flare G." And I was like, "What's a flare?" And I went through the hard way of learning what a flare G was, doing research, and people telling me. I was like, how could an 89 be on it? I remember this. I said, how can an 89 reverse be on an 88 front? That would be what they traveled. I remember telling this to Eric. What they traveled back into the past, and they got an 80. How's that's impossible? It must be the 88 that's on the 89. You mean? And he said, no. They make the dies the year before, so they're ready for the following year. And accidentally, they used one of the dies that they already created for 89 in 88, and that's why the 88s, the pennies towards the end of the year, have the 89 flare G on it. And I was like, oh, I learned the hard way, man. Asking millions of questions, found every single little error. I learned the hard way. And I did use a penny mat. I did use Rob Fine's Treasures penny mats in the beginning. I used it for about a year. I got to be honest with you. I used it for about a year. And no white AM. I see that on the nose. It's probably just some. That's the problem with, and that's one of the problems with zinc. Anytime you see something, it could be a zinc blister. You know that it's clad. It's a layer. It's electroplating over zinc. It could be moving around. It causes too many anomalies, and it'll play tricks on you after a while. So Rob from Rob Finds Treasures goes through two boxes of coins. Again, he does it off camera, but he's not take it would for him to look at each penny, it would take him uh 4 or 5 or 6 hours. Okay. And he is not spending 4 or 5 or 6 hours looking at 100 rolls of pennies, 5,000 pennies. He's not looking at 5,000 pennies under his microscope. Okay. He's not doing that. Obviously I go slower than anybody else would, right? Because I talk, and this is part of the charm of my show, right? Is that people come here to listen to Jess talk and my wonderful analysis of pennies. This is why people come here. This is why people watch my videos. All right, we have a die clash. It's dirty. It could probably be cleaned. It should be on the front. I could swear it looks like it's on the front somehow. I see some die clashy stuff. If it is, it's weak. If I have to look that hard, it's weak. But on the reverse, you can see it right there in between the columns to the right of Lincoln and to the left, but mostly to the right of him, right there. All right, I'll put it to the side. There we go. I got some DNA. Only 2 copper pennies so far. What a bummer. 2015. And the way I have learned and the way I penny roll hunt, I can always, oh, this is nice. This is a nice shiny one for our Lincoln Memorials. I can always add to my knowledge base because of the speed that I go at the right speed for me, right? This is my speed, my learning speed, my tempo, my rhythm. This is what works for me. If I go out of tune, then it doesn't work out for me. It's just my energy, my brain wavelength. It's just how it goes for me. That's an absolute stunner. That one is actually like, now look, you want to see the difference between these and the one we just found? I'll put this one in the middle. You can really see the difference. All right. Well, the funny thing is I put in the middle. I guess the other ones weren't that bad. So I guess I got a good eye for it. Okay, maybe it's just the reverse. Oh, what am I doing? One of them is a shield. That's number one. I'm glad I didn't mix those up. It's the reverse. So the obverse, yeah, the obverse is nice and shiny. It's a nice looking coin. It's the reverse that looks like it has a special strike. Doesn't that look like a special strike? Look how defined and brilliant all of the features are. If you want to look at this, what year is it? 2007. It's funny. I think 2007 has a special strike. Right. So if we look at these two, it's a huge difference between. Funny thing is, the fronts weren't that different. Well, you know why? You could really see. Huh. Does the 2007 have a special strike? Let me check that out real quick. I know the 2005 and 2006 have a special strike. Let me go to Wikipedia. Right, if we go to 2005, 2006, we should see. Yeah, this is the Mintage website, Wikipedia. It's on the bottom of the every video in the description, and has the link to this. So we're looking for 2007, but let's go to 2005. I want to see if it says special. It doesn't say special mint strike here. I know the 2005 and 2006 have a special mint strike. We have to go to eBay. Looking for pennies. Think memorials. I think 2006 SMS, $50 they want from now. It's a 68 though. It's pretty high. 67, they want $30. Here's a 66. It's funny how it went from 68 to 67 to 66. 66, they want $12, which is pretty good. They want, let's call it $30 for the 67. Here goes one in. Here go a couple that he put them on. I remember I bought a bunch of these the other day. Can't remember what I paid. Here we gotta go. So yeah, the point is that 2006 has SMS, has special mint strikes. The question is, does 2007's? No. Oh, there! Look! Whoa! I thought it did. $289. I thought there was. Wow. And you know what? Oh, no. See, this is how you know the special mint strikes. They look like proofs almost. Yeah. Look at that revert. That's why he wants over $200 for it. I don't think ours looks like that at all. Yeah, that's has a whole different color and everything to it. I guess you could really tell if it's a special mint strike. Now it could be just the, but I'm just saying. That's a beauty. Either way, that's all I'm saying is it's a beauty. And here goes copper paint number 3. So that's how I learned. Plus, and I have to say, I did have a little bit of a background with coins. Specifically with graded coins, wheat cents, and things like that from my childhood. And then as I got older, as an investor, and a reseller. And again, I have I just put a bunch into the safe. I have there we go again. I can't stop doing it. It's really it's a mental thing at this point. I I've purchased so many since I started this channel. It goes number 4. Oh, it's an 82. All right, it's a nice penny. It's a nice brown. This is AU condition. Easy. You might have 1 or 2 more, which I guess it's normal at this point, right? If you're still getting pennies from the bank, if you get 5 or 6 copper pennies, I guess that's it from now on. Wow, wow. Throw in the garbage. So even though he said, yeah, so he said for the first time, I've never heard. He actually said he doesn't look. Rob from Rob Finds Treasure says he actually doesn't. I'm throwing in the garbage. Says he doesn't look for lesser varieties. Now all of a sudden, he said, and I'll see if I find any lesser known varieties. All of a sudden, I'm telling you, man. I think him or his wife are watching this channel, or his viewers, and or he's finally realizing he better start looking for lesser known varieties because something, man, something. I don't expect the guy to give me a shout out or say, "Yeah, Jess from Look What Jess Found." You know, he's not. That's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. Actually, I wrote Rob an email, and I don't. You know what? I haven't been into my email from the channel in a while. Let me go in there. I don't want to say something that's not true. Oh my god, I got so many. Oh, I have so many. What's that called? Emails. I mean, 99% of them are doesn't matter, and I get all these people wanting to do. And I'm sorry, I can't. I can't. You know, I mean, I'll look at pennies if you send them to me, but it's kind of not fair to ask for me to do research on your coins and you don't want to send a $5 super chat. I mean, it's super not cool, you know. Um, I just can't stop, man. I can't stop it. I know there's got to be something. Maybe you like electroshock yourself every time you say the word. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, I got a bunch of emails. Nothing from Rob Finds Treasures though. Okay, I guess that's the bottom line. People who want to do collaborations, I think they're bots though. They want you to make videos for them, and then they'll make me the video, and then we'll send you $50. It's like, no, man, you send me the $50, then I'll do the video. Get out of here, man. Anyway, because they have all these apps and stuff for coins. They look pretty cool. I wouldn't mind doing videos for them, but I don't. I got to think about being scammed, and like I do these hardcore videos every day, half hour. I like them to be 15 minutes. As you can see, lately they've been half hour or longer. And I upload them to every day. My members get a video and 10 shorts, a long video every day ahead of all the subscribers. My members get these videos. I put the work in so they get, you know what I mean? I don't ask for nothing for free. That's wrong, man. Unless you're disabled or something like that. And even then, disabled, I seen a woman without arms using a fork and knife with her feet. Okay. So I don't want to hear nothing about, I'm sorry, man. I mean, unless you're again, I don't know. I just don't know. I've seen 100-year-old people in Japan climbing up trees to get coconuts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's my opinion. I want to be one of those old guys who can climb up a coconut tree if the Lord lets me. And I want to be able to work for everything until the end if the Lord lets me also. So to ask for somebody to do something for you and you don't want to, and you don't want to compensate them for it, that's super, super uncool. Anyway, so Rob Finds Treasure has not responded. And I told him, I said, because he did a video where he showed all his pennies that he has from his search. And it's like, yo, I'll buy them from you. You know what I mean? You want to get rid of your pennies? Let me know. And he never responded. So, but I mean, I really don't need them. I just thought it would have been a cool thing, that he could have said, "Oh yeah, I'm selling it," and I could have shot him out. There I go again. The only people who I use in my description are, look at that. You see that, right? I see that on the R and the E. It's not a hardcore separate. It's definitely separation. I can see it through the camera. Let me look through the loop real quick. Nah. Well, man, that B is wicked though. You can see it. I wish the L had the bar. So, that's what. So he finds. So you're gonna know which episode I'm talking about if you look through his. It's the one where he found the 1972, not the super double die, but the extra thick double die. I'll still put this one to the side. That B is really. It just needs to be cleaned. It's the B that's really awesome. You see the B right there? I can't go any closer, but look at the B. That is really nice. All right, we'll put that to the side too. And we have one more copper penny maybe at the end here. Maybe one, maybe two, but I think we just have one. So that'll give us 6 copper pennies, I think, or five or six. And so he didn't respond to me. Okay, I would have bought his U because he doesn't search through his pennies. Now all of a sudden he's talking about lesser known variety. This is what I'm saying. I was like, oh, his pennies would be great because he doesn't know how to look for lesser known varieties. All of a sudden he's saying he's looking for lesser known varieties, but he doesn't know how to look for lesser known varieties. Even that one that he found at 72, super obvious. It was a super extra thick. So this is what I wanted to make. This is what I wanted to write down. So he goes, oh, and on the L, I see, what did he call it? I see an extra, he said, I see the extra line on the L. Now, the other thing, the other person who I learned from also through Eric from Kenai Collectibles is, oh my God, I know his name. I don't wanna destroy his name again. I keep forgetting his name. It's like Sean or something, and someone's gonna say something to me. And the guy from Copper Coins. Sorry, I forgot his name. Someone's gonna write down his name in the comments below. His name is this again. Anyway, and he's another one who goes through his pennies. And I guess the funny thing is, he does it that way too. And Eric and a few other subscribers to the channel were also members of Copper Coins. And when I first started the channel, we talked a lot about Copper Coins, and I've watched some of Copper Coins videos. And he's another one who also so I guess Eric either learned from him or something. I don't know. This is just an old school way of going through coins. So the guy from Copper Coins also does it that way, where he goes through a microscope and he goes coin by coin, and this is it. So that's if either you learn how to do it the way I do it, which is the way Eric does it, which is the way the guy from Copper Coins does it, or you're going to learn some other way, which is not a good way to, in my opinion, to penny roll hunt. So, so he goes, oh, I'm looking for the extra line on the L. right? So, and if you've heard me mention this before, 2013 Denver. You've heard me mention this before, which I've learned from copper coins, because so many of the errors, the double dies, have an extra bar. It's called an extra bar, BAR. Yes, you can call it a line, I guess, but it's not the correct term. But because he didn't learn the correct way, he doesn't know the correct language. And it's called an extra bar. And underneath the L, the line there's an extra. If you see an extra bar, that's a very good indication that you have a double die. When it goes with the other extra thickness and spreading and indicators of that nature that indicate a double die, or that indicate a double die. So now, does it really matter that he doesn't cook? Well, what matters is that he doesn't take his time with searching. That's what matters, right? Because the whole business that he set up, he has to move pretty quickly, right? He's going through boxes in an hour or a half. I mean, you don't want to do. I'm doing this video now. It's 36 minutes. Okay, I went over by 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Not the biggest of deal in the scope of my day. All right, all right. I gave my members and my subscribers extra content. But if I had to go through 2 boxes of pennies, there's a big difference between giving my subscribers and members an extra half hour and giving them an extra 5 hours of my day. That's not happening. Nobody, I don't got that. I can't do that. And definitely neither can Rob from Rob Finds Treasures. He's not going through each one of these pennies, penny by penny. He's not doing it. He's never, ever going to do that. You're never going to learn how to penny roll hunt from Rob Finds Treasures. Point blank and simple. Even though he said he's looking for lesser known varieties, he's still looking for lesser known varieties that jump off the page. He's not looking for cherry picker guide lesser known varieties. Even though he talks about even though he talks about cherry picker varieties, he's not really looking for them, because you have to put each one under, and he's doing boxes of pennies. You can't, he's no way he's doing that. It would take him 5 to 10 hours to go through 2 boxes of pennies one by one under the microscope. He's not doing it. So he can talk about lesser known varieties all he wants till the cows come home. Now, here we go. Here goes. Here's the last copper penny that I told you we were going to find. Until he's willing to put the work into his penny roll hunting, he's never going to learn how to truly penny roll hunt. Point blank and simple. And I'm a fan of his. He's entertaining. Yeah, it has a nice edge. It's pretty close to brilliant uncirculated. I'll put it with the other shield. And here is the last penny after 40 minutes. Yeah, I don't think this is copper. Pretty sure this is probably an 80s. Oh, it has a die clash. 84, yeah. You can tell the older ones. It does have a die clash on it, though. I'll put that with the other die clash. Where's the other one? That was the 82. So again, I'm not saying what I'm saying to... I didn't realize that there's a little line on the side of the 70. And it's funny that I said, oh, look, it looks like it's a double die by the B. Meanwhile, the reverse, and I didn't notice that on the reverse. Not for nothing, that's pretty heavy duty. It's a pretty far out there line. It's not straight up and down like the column, though. I wonder why it looks like that. All right, maybe we'll look at it during the short. So this must be the die clash then. Yeah, that's the die clash. Okay, so we found two die clashes. They are weak. Well, this one's weaker than the other one. The other one's not that bad, and it's brighter. Okay, so again, I'm not beating up on Rob Fine Strategy. It's very entertaining channel, but don't be fooled, right? One of the things that I really dislike again is people being dishonest and trying to cheat and get over and being stingy, right? A cheap person, I don't like cheap people either, right? It's just it's a low quality being cheap. I understand if you're frugal and you're poor, you could be poor and still not cheap, right? And still understand and still wish to give more, right? People who wish to give more, when they have more, they give more. And that's a quality that, again, if you're brought up, if you learned that habit as from at a young age to be cheap, then it's hard to break out of that. I I did learn how to be cheap from when at a young age, and as I got older and I went to school and college, and I met I met one person. I'll tell this story very quick. I met one person in my life, and he was so different than me. And he gave me a glimpse into his life. I knew him from playing handball. Right, he was just one of the guys on the handball courts who I knew he had a good job and he had a nice house and all that, which was something different than most of us on the handball courts. And when he saw me go through school and I became a therapist, he asked me questions because he had depression around Christmas every year. I spoke to him about it. I go with the ums again. I spoke to him about it, and I guess he took a liking to me, and we hung out more after that. And he showed me all of the guy had this crazy life that nobody knew about because of the family he came from, who these Greek people who owned olive orchards in Greece, and they were and he was a multi millionaire, and nobody at the courts knew about it. And he let me in. He trusted me and let me in on it. And we hung out. And there was one time we hung out, and we went to eat, and we went to eat at a nice restaurant. And I went to put less money than he thought was appropriate for the service we received. And he said, "No, you got to put an extra $5 in or something like that." And I'm going back 20 something years. And I told him no, I wasn't going to do it. I'll never forget that expression in his face of disappointment. And he put the money in, said, "Don't worry about it." And he put the money in, and I always remember that, and it affected me, that disappointment in his face. And it was, and I realized, you know what, this guy is cut from a different cloth. You know what I mean? And if I want, and in his world, people do the right thing by each other, and in my world, where how I grew up was, you know dog eat dog, you know this only the strong survive and stuff like that. And he came from a world where people had class. and anyway, all of that, how I got into that, I have no idea. And learning bad habits. So if you want to learn good habits about penny roll hunting, then you follow this channel. And if you have bad habits, start doing the penny roll hunting the way I do it. Anyway, so just to finish that thought with this guy, I learned from that, and I changed my ways. I reflected on my behaviors, and also realized that, and he didn't teach me this, but I kind of realized this because I'm like a student of stuff. If you think poor, like the way you think will guide your life. And if you think like a poor person, you'll always stay poor. It's very hard. It's very hard. Most people who stay in their income range for their whole lives, and to make that leap out of it, even spirit, and same thing spiritually. If you think spiritually impoverished, you'll stay that way, right? So to listen to Christ is one thing, but you have to follow Christ. To be like Christ, you have to follow Christ, not just say you're a Christian. Saying you're a Christian doesn't mean you follow Christ. Most people who say they're Christians don't follow Christ. Most people, right? The road to heaven is narrow, meaning very few people are actually on that road. So get good habits, follow the correct people, think, try to think on a higher level, right? Do the right thing all the time. Put the extra work into it. Have integrity, and your life will reflect that, but you have to do it consistently and on a regular basis. Okay, that's all I got. God bless. It was more than I chose to talk about today. We got 10 coins for the short videos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10, and that's a double. That's two die clashes. I'll probably do the two as a one, since we got, not really, because those two are one over. Well, that one might be, it's not an SMS, not a special min strike. Anyway, long video. Hope you enjoyed it. God bless. I'm going to respond. I'm staring at these emails now. I got to respond. And I'll see you in the next one.